Hello, how are you today, Madison?
I'm so much better now.
Yes, perfect. Well, thanks for taking this interview with us. We're so excited to have you on, and I'm just excited just to ask you a couple questions here.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be on, and thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the Zoom call here for us. I mean, now with everything going on, but so you got your new single out, "Best Part of Me," and I read that somebody described it as a sparkly pop song, and I feel like that doesn't do justice to it. Honestly, I don't think that does enough, because I feel like there's a little bit of almost EDM in there. There's like that pop, but I do kind of get that faster beat, and I don't know what do you describe this song as, I suppose?
That is so funny. Sparkly pop. I have never.
You've never heard that?
I would say that I. Oh my god, that's so funny. So I like to describe it as a bit of an alternative pop. Like, I am a little raw around the edges, but I think the song in particular is pretty fluffy. The only thing that I think gives it some edge is just the lyrics. It does talk about mental health. It does talk about finding some discomfort, or comfort in your discomfort. So, I mean, I guess it could be sparkly, but maybe it's like sparkly and a little dirty.
A dirty sparkle is what you're saying.
A very dirty sparkle.
Oh man, well, I guess really where I wanted to start off, I always like asking this, is like where, I guess in Kamloops, British Columbia, correct? Like where?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to be the typical stereotypical, I guess, dumb American. It's like they're just from Canada, but I always like asking what got you into music, like what maybe some of the artists that you looked up to or bands and stuff like that. What really got you going as an artist?
I'm actually super fortunate. I studied jazz composition at Berklee in Boston. So music was super heavy in my family. He played trumpet, he played pretty much every instrument. He was also an opera singer. So by the time I was around 5, I think I sang my first song by myself. I sang "Where Are You Christmas," the Faith Hill version. Obviously, I was a big baller. In my little gold dress at church, standing on the stage, "Where are you Christmas?" And it was so adorable. I melted hearts everywhere. Totally off key. It was great. But basically, the first applause, I was like, "This is game over for you bitches." This feeling is way too great. And I
got the confidence early, I see, is what you're saying. I can definitely feel it, yeah.
It was the gold dress. I'm definitely still trying to find one that emulates the power of that evening. But yeah, so after that, I kind of started to realize that I am a ham. I love to sing. I love music.
That's awesome. And I mean, I can't say I've ever had a moment of a gold dress moment, I suppose, of anything like that. But I guess really what I love kind of seeing is where people come from, because I've always been told from my family, it's never where you are, it's where you've always been.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love that.
That's a little, I guess, knowledge that I'll pass on today. But so coming up with all of this music and everything happening, what were some of maybe the struggles along the way? What did maybe some of the naysayers say that you weren't going to be able to do and stuff like that? On that come up to now.
I think maybe it wasn't necessarily what other people think, because no matter who you are, no matter how big you are, there's always going to be a hater, and there's always going to be somebody who doesn't believe in you. But I think the biggest struggle was if somebody did say something to me, I believed them, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm just a basic blonde bitch that is totally not unique, and nobody's going to want to support this pumpkin spice Taylor Swift love and whore. So and I think my biggest regret is now having more confidence starting out and seeing the value, and yeah, it's okay to be a little basic, but that's what makes it unique. So last year I started kind of talking how I was a totally basic bitch and I loved pumpkin spice lattes, and it was totally my like fall brand. I was like, yeah, I'm full sending this, full sending the white girl like Lululemon jeans or whatever it was. Yeah, but obviously it sticks.
I mean, it doesn't matter now. I mean, but,
right.
So going with that, I 2018 was when you put out your debut album, Blue. Just maybe describe that year if you can, or maybe just like that time around the album coming out. Like, how was that time for you?
I think at that time I had already released like a couple singles, and I was loving being able to put out music. I have a very supportive community. Everybody was streaming it, putting it on the radio, so I'd be driving and I'd hear my song, and it was very surreal at the beginning. I think by the time I ended up releasing the album, it wasn't even like a, yeah, like this is so exciting. It was like a finally feeling. I've worked so hard, I've written all these songs, and this like little child that I made is finally out, and I was already done with them. Like I didn't want to hear them anymore. I was like, okay, that's off my plate, like what's next? And I think that that's basically how a lot of artists, I'm not sure, you know, if you guys feel the same, but once you release a song, like you've already heard it so many times that by the time it's out, you're like, okay, don't play that around with me.
I'm done. I've already overplayed my share of that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll like wake up, and I'm with my parents right now just because of COVID, and they've got Sonos throughout the whole house, and I'll wake up and I'll hear my music playing, and I'm like, it's like my own personal torture device. I just
it's a blessing and a curse, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like Blue was super great. And each song came like a very personal story, and my songwriting has definitely evolved. I went from like a very folky singer-songwriter to like pretty poppy and pretty ambiguous, and so like that album came out, it felt like a little storybook that I had written that was like, hey, this is me and this is a little piece of me, and I'm really excited for you to hear it, but like I don't want to hear it because I've already lived that story. But it's funny when people bring up Blue, because I look back and I think what a naive songwriter I was to have put those songs out or anything like that. Not because I think they're bad songs, but because like as a songwriter I've grown up and I'm already like moved on from that song. I guess.
So I guess I have a question from that. Like, for each song you put out, like do you have like you have each attachment to each song differently because each song means something else, but what like do you get like there's certain songs that you're like, okay, I can't not just listen to this, like I don't even want to play it, and are there other songs that you're like, this is definitely one song that I can play over and over again no matter what?
Yeah, I feel like actually the more like emotional ones, there's that frick, I can't remember. Daddy Got His Little Girl. That one, I can't even remember the title of it. That one I can't even listen to now because it was like such an emotional song. When I remember writing it, I was crying. But like best part of me, I was like super anxietal that day, and I don't even remember writing it. So I'm like, yeah, I can still listen to this one. This is fine.
I don't really remember that day.
I think. Yeah, I don't. I was like such a little ball of stress that day. It was just a blur. But so I find that the ones that are a little bit more like emotional and had more heart into writing, I have a hard time listening to, just because either I'm like, oh, like I cringe listening to it because ew emotions, or you know, it brings up things that I don't want to feel again. And then the ones that are, you know, a little bit more poppier, a little bit sparkly, I'm like, yeah, that's like whatever.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I guess I kind of associate, I am not a songwriter or an artist anyway, but like I do associate like songs with moments, and I always kind of see that like each song kind of has its place. But I definitely do have those songs that I'm like, this is all I think about with this song. I can never listen to it again. I need to just put it down or like something like that. But yeah. Going up a couple of just listening to your other songs, because I mean the best part of me was the first song I heard from you, but then I started listening to a little bit off Blue. I listened to 24. I listened to the new song Thank You. Moments in the Mountain, sorry, was probably one of my favorite. And so I kind of asked about that one, like what went into going, like, making that, and what kind of came from that single?
Yeah, so that single was actually like a pretty unique situation. I had been asked to write the BC Winter Games theme song, which is kind of just like a sporting event here for like young adults. And I was, I think, 17 at the time when they asked me, and it was kind of at the beginning of my songwriting career, and I was like very, very nervous. I didn't believe in myself. I was like, you put your faith in the wrong person. And they were a couple of years before the actual game, so they gave me a lot of time to put together a song. And I really just put it off. I was very overwhelmed by this task, and I had a friend at the time who was going through some pretty big life changes with her family, with everything that was going on for her, and she's like, I need a cathartic experience. I was like, okay, well, I've always wanted to wake up at 2 a.m, hike this mountain, watch the sunrise, see the like the dark go to light, and kind of like clear away all these bad experiences you've had. I think it'd be really great. And so we did this hike, and I was very miserable at 2 a.m. I was so inspired by our experience that evening I wrote the song in like, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, and then like a couple weeks went by, the games ended up calling me. They're like, hey, like, where's our song? And I was like, oh crap, I have nothing to give you guys, like, I didn't write it. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, like, I did. I totally wrote it. It was about a different thing. And I think, like, my hang-up was that I'm not really an athlete, so I didn't know how I was going to connect with the young athletes that were coming in. I didn't know the struggles that they went through. I didn't know their triumphs. But one thing that I did know was having a shared moment within the mountains. Like, I knew what it was like to have a friend. It's like you go from something kind of crappy to a win, and I associated my moment in the mountains with their moment. And that was in that, because I think if I had have just written it on my own without the idea of it being for the games, the song probably would have never come out. But because there was this like attachment to these young adults coming and experiencing something that they'll never forget, that's kind of what made the song. And that's why it did well too, because there was like 5,000 kids at the sporting event that all listened to the song, that it was their like anthem for the weekend. And then it kind of just took off from there. I still don't know why it's doing well, because I look back at this 18-year-old girl who's like, I'm gonna hike a mountain and I'm gonna write a song about it. Like, I don't look at it and I'm like, yeah, like Moments in the Mountains is like a great song. I think of it as a story again, and it's one of those ones that like I just can't listen to because I'm like, oh yeah, okay, Maddie, whatever. So.
I feel like it's funny that some of those smaller moments, and I mean, how long did you have to actually write the song before you gave it to him? You said you had like a couple years.
Well, I had like probably almost 2 years.
So you had 2 years, and you basically did it in an hour and a half. Like, one, that just shows like your talent as a musician, just to bounce something out that quick. And two, that's, I mean, and to think that all these people, like, I mean, some guy like me like likes that song, like that's awesome. Like that's just so crazy to hear. But it makes you think of those little moments of like that one day with that mountain and going up and all that stuff, and especially like having that moment with your friend. Like, I mean, that's great.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, and she still listens to the song.
See, well, that's even better. Like, she still at least knows. She's like, I was a part of this.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what does the future hold for Madison Olds? Like, what do you have going on maybe the rest of this year and beyond?
Well, I've been working really hard at putting together music. Obviously, live isn't really happening, which sucks because that was kind of my goal for this year. I really wanted to do a little bit of touring, play some shows. So I've been doing a lot of songwriting, lots of recording, which is basically all any artist can do right now. So I'm hoping to put out some more music that I'm really excited. It's kind of the same vein of Best Part of Me, where I'm like, I feel like that was the door to this new alternative gritty pop that I've been working on, and as far as that goes, I'm not entirely sure. Like, I would love to start getting together for a live show and prepare that, but it's so hard to tell what's gonna happen in the next like year or 2 years or whatever. So as far as I'm concerned, it's basically just songwriting and recording and releasing.
Well, I mean, you can still release through social media and getting out there with some like couple press releases or stuff like that. An interview with Groundsounds per se. I mean, gotta put that in there, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, this just kind of getting to know some of the songs and a little bit of your background. Like, I really think that you put out some really good stuff so far. I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot going on. You've got a lot of songs coming in. I mean, I know we can't really do a whole lot with the tours and stuff, but thank you so much for coming on here and taking the time to have this interview with me. I am honored and privileged to have interviewed you, and thank you for your time.
Oh my gosh, no, thank you so much. It was really fun, and I love getting to share the uncomfortable, awkward backstories behind all my songs, and I really appreciate you being able to stand there comfortably during
I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't. I mean, it was such a great story on a couple of them. I mean, it was a solid interview in my book. So, but
10 out of 10 then. No, thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully we can catch you on maybe a couple other things once the quarantine's over, and we'll see you on Groundsounds.
That sounds so amazing. Thanks so much, and be.
Will do. You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.